Hello, children. Welcome you all to 10th Standard English class. Today, I'll continue the lesson What is Moral Action written by M.K. Gandhi. First of all, we will recollect the criteria which we have come across to consider an act to be a moral one. First criteria. A moral act must be our own act and must spring from our own will. Second criteria. It is not enough that an act done by us is in itself good. It should have been done with the intention to do good. Third criteria, it is not enough for a moral act to have been done with a good intention, but it should have been done without compulsion. In other words, for an act to be a moral, it has to be free from fear and compulsion. Take out page number 75, children. I'll be reading out para 5, criteria 4. Just as a moral action should be free from fear or compulsion, so should there be no self-interest behind it. This is not to say that actions prompted by self-interest are all worthless, but only that to call them moral would detract from the moral idea. That honesty cannot long endure, which is practiced in the belief that it is the best policy. As Shakespeare says, love born out of the profit motive is no love. Author here stresses that any act should not be done out of any fear or compulsion. But at the same time, there should be no self-interest in it. If you think that if I do this act, I will get something in return. If an act is performed with that intention of getting something in return, it cannot be called as a moral action because there will be a selfish motive in that act which has been performed. So, if a person performs any act with the honesty and no self motive, then only it is called as a moral act. As Shakespeare says, love born out of the profit motive is no love, which means if a person tries to show love or concern with an intention of gaining any motive or pretending to be so concerned is of no use or cannot be termed as real love or concern. Next criteria. Just as an action prompted by the motive of material gain here on earth is non-moral, so also another done for considerations of comfort and personal happiness in another world is non-moral. Here, the author says that an action prompted by the motive of material gain or comfort and personal happiness in another world is non-moral. For example, when a person does a good act with an intention that if I do good now, I'll be blessed to go to heaven, or thinking about the life after death, such motive cannot be considered as a moral act. That action is moral, which is done only for the sake of doing good. A great Christian, Saint Francis Xavier, passionately prayed that his mind might always remain pure. For him, devotion to God was not for enjoying a higher seat after death. He prayed because it was man's duty to pray. Saint Francis Xavier was a Spanish Catholic priest, missionary, and saint from Noir who was the co founder of the Society of Jesus. He deeply prayed God from the bottom of the heart that I have to serve God and the needy people and not for enjoying a higher seat after death. He prayed because it was man's duty to pray to God. The great Saint Teresa wished to have a torch in her right hand and a vessel of water in her left, so that with the one she might burn the glories of heaven, and with the other extinguish the fires of hell. And men might learn to serve God from love alone, without fear of hell and without temptation of heavenly bliss. Saint Teresa of Avila was a Spanish noblewoman, Carmelite nun, religious reformer who wished to have a torch in a right hand and vessel of water in a left, so that the gleaming light of the torch would spread the glories of heaven to a wider extent. In other words, the effects or results of a good action should spread to a wider range. In the same way, when the immoral activities are increasing or spreading like wildfire, it could be extinguished with the help of water, without the temptation of heavenly bliss. Here, bliss refers to a state of complete happiness or the joy. Man has to serve God, thinking that God is everywhere and not in the fear of going to hell and temptation of heavenly bliss. To preserve morality thus demands a brave man prepared to face even death. It is cowardice to be true to friends and to break faith with enemies. Those who do good out of fear and haltingly have no moral virtue. Henry Clay, known for his kindliness, sacrificed his convictions to his ambition. We should not have enemies. We should treat everyone equally in a good manner and in a moral way. Author gives an example of great men who sacrificed their moral behavior rules to some extent. For example, Henry Clay. You can see the picture of Henry Clay, who was well known for kindliness. He was a very kind person. He sacrificed all his rules and behaviors because he wanted to fulfill his ambition. So, again, the moral act, whatever he had done, was a failure. It was not at all recognized. Daniel Webster, for all his great intellect and his sense of his heroic and the sublime, once sold his intellectual integrity for a price. How much ever a person might have done good deeds and earned a good name and fame in this society can be wiped out by a single wrong act committed by such a person. As I say you always, children, to earn a good name, it takes years to gather. But to earn a bad name, few minutes are enough. So we have to be very, very careful. Here, you can see a picture of Daniel Webster, who was an American lawyer and statesman, sold his intelligence and knowledge for price. By this single mean act, he wiped out all his good deeds, what he had done in the past. This shows how difficult it is to judge the morality of man's action because we cannot penetrate the depths of his mind. Very true. Nobody can enter into the depth of the mind, whether a person is performing an act with a good intention or self motive or profit motive. We have also the answer to the question raised at the outset of this chapter. What is a moral action? Incidentally, we also saw what kind of men could live up to that morality. In conclusion, the author here says that we can come to know what kind of men can live up to that morality. The one who is very true and very honest, and we have to recognize them, whether they have any selfish motive behind it or not. In this way, Gandhiji gives various examples and differentiates what is a moral action and what is a non moral action. I hope you have understood them and we will try to implement in our life and do more and more of moral acts. Assignment of the day. First one. What qualities of Daniel Webster does Gandhiji mention? Second, why is it difficult to judge the morality of a man's action? Thank you, children.